Hey everybody, this is Michelle.
And this is Julie.
Welcome to A Blonde, a Brunette, and a Mike podcast. What is our podcast all about, you ask?
Well, we're two 50-something women with life experience and, plenty to say.
Which is exactly what we're going to do right now.
Hey, Miss Shelley, how are you?
Hey, Jules. How are you?
You know, I'm doing good.
I see that because you have this princess chihuahua sitting on your lap right now.
And we're not going to talk about that she's wearing a pearl necklace.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty pearl necklace, and it does look pretty fabulous on her.
So, audience, I was talking to Michelle about the pearl necklace, and, you know, Harlow's an angel and just innocent. And, of course, she would never wear a pearl necklace in the sexual connotation portion.
Can we just say I had no idea what she was talking about?
It's a song.
Will
you please tell our audience what a pearl necklace is?
I know.
It's little drops of semen around a woman's neck, you know, like if a guy ejaculates in her face or whatever. But it's called a pearl necklace, and it was from a song, I can't remember, White Snake or one of those hair bands or something in the 80s.
Yeah.
So when I got her this pearl necklace, I was thinking she can't wear a collar, you know, because her skin is so delicate it cuts. And so the pearls, of course, are soft and they won't bother her.
It's like a nice hanging necklace.
Exactly. And she looks very prim and proper. She's got Jackie O vibes going on here.
Oh, I thought you were going to say ejaculation vibes.
No ejaculation vibes.
Back to that. No.
Just Jackie O
Just
vibes.
Jackie O vibes. Yeah. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so yeah, there has been. I think I was mentioning to you. It's just been a crazy couple of weeks.
It has been.
I feel like we're just going nonstop. Yeah, lots going on nonstop. And we are, as all of you have probably noticed in the last couple of episodes, we've had a little challenge with some of our audio. So we've decided to take a little step back and not do the same stuff we were doing before and just record audio with no video, because
just doing it like we used to.
Old school.
Yeah.
Just old school in it like we used to.
Back to basics.
And now I don't have to put on makeup when I'm recording.
Really back to basics.
Although there will be some clips that we have that we're going to be posting on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. But so back to basics. And we actually have kind of a good topic today. This is one that going into spring, I don't know, I feel like it's a really important thing to talk about. I think happiness.
And I think happiness is really important to talk about regardless of the time of year. But you mentioned going into spring, and I think particularly we feel that because of the transition from short, dark days.
Long nights.
Days are,
long, dark, and cold and wet nights.
Whatever they are, it's just dark and damp and dreary, and, you know, we're in hibernation and we're inside.
Yeah, all of you that do not live in the Northwest, this is what it's like in the winter.
Yeah.
We're just telling you this in case you wanted to move here.
Yeah.
I think we've said that before.
But it's definitely a thing. And I think, too, with that, it definitely affects how we are feeling when it's like that. I know people that aren't from here, it's really hard for them to get used to that here in Seattle. And I mean,
some people even have sun lamps, or they have, you know, like the tanning places. Yeah. They have, what are they called? They're like machines that simulate sunshine.
Well, I mean,
they don't tan you. I think they just simulate sunshine.
Well, they have the red light. Red light therapy. Yeah, but then the tanning beds too.
Those don't simulate sunshine.
But you get in there. I use them.
Yeah.
I do use them. I do tan. Not
on her face.
Crazily. But, you know, sometimes once a week, maybe once every couple of weeks. But going in there and feeling the warmth and just having the light surrounding my entire body, it definitely is a little pick-me-up.
Yeah.
For the mood.
Well, there's a little bit of that going on, right? Before we head to Vegas. We're going to Vegas for Michelle's birthday in a couple weeks. And we have to have a little bit of sun before we head there because I don't want to scare anybody at the pool. So maybe it's self-tan. Maybe it's the red light therapy. I don't know what the hell it is.
It makes me happy.
It all makes you happy.
It does make me happy.
So I started kind of doing some research on this topic, and I ran across this Harvard professor named Arthur Brooks, he teaches this course on happiness at Harvard, and he was searching for the best way to describe the foundation of happiness and what is, most common, or what are the traits that are most common, among the happiest people. And when I say happy, I don't mean people that are like nauseously happy. I mean, sometimes I think they need to get a life reality check when you see people that just have
Why though?
Because sometimes it's like, just seriously, the world is not all sunshine and roses, and I think it's ridiculous not to acknowledge the fact that the world is not all sunshine and roses, because without that you wouldn't have good days and bad days.
But even those people have the bad days.
Do they?
Of course they do.
I don't know, man. I just have to be, and I am not a negative person as a general rule.
No, I know. You and I are both glass half full people, I'm pretty sure.
Glass half full, absolutely. And I think that makes people a tiny bit crazy sometimes, because you're always looking for the silver lining in something, or, the bright side of whatever the topic is. But, through this research, what I kind of learned is that there's a lot of folks that look at happiness as more of a destination. Like they have to get to the destination and then they're happy. When in reality, I think a lot of the things that make us happy or that bring happiness to us are things that are a part of the journey of living.
It's a journey, man.
Yeah. So in order to have highs, happiness, joy, you have to have lows. So if you think about it from that perspective, there are so many different things that happen in our lives that bring joy. And I think satisfaction, is part of that. But if you break it all down to different categories, if you will, you've got enjoyment, satisfaction, and purpose. And through this research, what I was finding is that these are kind of the three categories where people will invest time and energy that have joyful lives. Not that everything, again, is joyful, not that everything is happy, but their contentment. And I really kind of think about that word being content, not being complacent, not being lazy. I don't mean content that way. I just mean being content, being happy with where you're at, being happy with the people that you're around, with the things that you're doing. To me, that's like contentment. Like think about sitting around with your family around a bonfire and everybody's cracking jokes and playing games or talking to each other, reminiscing. Those are like those special moments in your life that will bring joy or bring happiness. Same with pictures.
So what do you think is most common? What are some of the things that are most common among happy people? Back to the question you raised a little bit ago. What do you think? I know you just talked about a couple things, but when you think of the commonalities of what some of the things are, I think that's a hard question because it'll be different.
It's different for everybody.
I feel like it's different for everybody.
So let's just start with you. What do you think the commonality? I mean, I feel like you are a generally happy person. I mean, we all have our ups and downs, but you are a very happy, positive individual. What do you think drives you to be happy and positive?
Well, I think some of the things that drive me are, and I learned this probably about 5 years ago, that so much of it has to do with choices.
Yes.
You have to choose to be happy. I think it's innately in some people. And I think generally I'm a pleasant, happy person. But it's all because of and based on people I choose to have in my life.
Right.
Places I choose to surround myself, people I choose to surround myself with.
The kind of work you're doing.
What I do every day and spend so much time doing. And you really have to take time to reflect on if you're not happy, and you don't have to be happy all the time, but if there's things in life that are making you feel down, not happy, not fulfilled, you really have to spend time on figuring out the why behind that.
Mm-hmm. And no one's really going to ever change those things for you. Those are things as an adult, especially. Yeah. And I like what you said about surrounding yourself with, I wouldn't say even like-minded people, because I enjoy being around people that have different ideas and handle things in different ways than I do. That's part of growing. And
even the ones that wear Trump shirts?
Only if they have green eyes.
Oh, I wonder what that means.
No, I'm just joking. Trump doesn't have green eyes, does he?
Kidding.
I was joking because I definitely don't care if he has green eyes or not. At any rate, there's a little joke behind that one.
I do agree. I think it's important to surround yourself with like-minded people, but at the same time, again, you have to be thoughtful and mindful about the ones that aren't
right
as well.
So then you ask
because
yourself,
that can have an effect on your overall mind and emotional well-being, depending on how much time you're spending with these people.
So let's just say that you have, I don't want to say family members or people that you're around all the time that are more negative in nature. I think some of it has to do with like the level of security they have in their life, and just the experiences they've had are defining them if they are not allowing themselves to find joy in things that are happening on a daily basis, you know. But how do you handle that? So if you've got people that are in your life that are not necessarily happy or have a more negative view on life, kept half empty, say, for example, what do you choose to do?
You have to set boundaries.
Okay.
For yourself, to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And again, that's self-awareness and choice.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy.
No.
And sometimes the way we set those boundaries are going to be different for one person based on the why behind the boundary than it is for another person.
That is very true, actually.
Yeah.
That is very true. I feel like that is something that I've run across on I wouldn't say regular basis, because I too try to surround myself with people that are more positive in nature or have a more positive outlook, a silver lining type outlook. But I think there's a fine line between being kind of Pollyanna about things and pie in the sky, thinking everything's just lovely, and the reality of our world, because we have to be able to understand the things that are going on around us. And maybe that makes us more appreciative of what we have or more appreciative of the circumstances we live in or the people we're around, you know, that sort of thing. There has to be, in my opinion, there has to be those things in the world, in your life, in order to really be able to learn and appreciate what you have. Yeah.
And being conscious and aware, that's one thing. But listening to you say that, again, I think it comes down to, and sorry to keep using the word, but choice. And Julie knows this about me. It's not like I never watch the news, but I really don't fill my mind with a lot of the chaos that is going around. It's like Julie loves the neighborhood app, and she always lets me know when they find a body in the trunk of a car not far from our house.
Or if there's a coyote roaming around, or someone stealing packages off the porch.
So I don't need to do any more of that because I got Jules that fills me in on all that. But you get my point there. Some people get so wrapped up, and I don't mean you.
No, I can.
But you know, with literally they have the TV on all the time.
Yeah.
And even when you don't realize subconsciously you are listening. That's why you've got it on, is to keep you company. And so you're listening, and there is so much crap that's happening now. And I just don't think it's necessary to constantly be feeding your brain with that shit. So choosing to maybe listen to music or something different to keep you coming, different show. I know I bring up the news a lot, but I mean, that's
there's just a lot of garbage happening right now, you know, with the conflicts and wars and things happening.
You know what I usually have on? If I have the TV on, it's a show called Lucky Dog.
Oh, yeah.
And it's this guy who gets strays that get brought to the shelter, and he goes and gets them and decides, you know, and he's always finding a home, and he trains them and gets them all ready for these people's lifestyle. It's a great show. I don't really ever sit down and watch it.
It's just on in the background.
And it's like,
see, mine's HGTV. Because I love looking at all the house flips and all that kind of stuff, and it's kind of the same thing in the background, you know, or you know, the TLC, because I love all those little reality shows and stuff too. But to your point, you know, it's definitely something that those things kind of bring you joy. I mean, to me, I'll have the TV on, like I'll tell the dogs when I leave, okay guys, what do you want to watch? Do you want to watch the news, ESPN, Root Sports? Do you want to watch Do you want to watch HGTV? And, I just kind of pick something or I'll put on YouTube, the dog channel on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
But I like to have music around a lot. Mm-hmm. And music brings me a tremendous amount of joy.
Me too.
Yeah. You have quite a palette for music, quite a variety that you like to listen to. And mine is kind of expanded.
Yours is growing.
It's growing quite a bit.
I've noticed that, Julie.
Yeah. I've been really, there's my old palette, which had a lot of like the, rock and 80s and all that kind of stuff, and R&B, moving into kind of a lot of the things that hip hop, the things that I listen to now. But some of the new artists that I'm running across, I'm just like, okay,
yeah,
I like this.
Teddy
it's kind
Swims.
I'm obsessed with him.
Yeah, she is.
I am. I'm obsessed. And like India Arie, we all know I'm obsessed with her. And so I check all the time to see, okay, when's she going to be touring? Yeah. Where's she going to be playing? And I always look at those like destination, like weekend away kind of thing. And sure enough, there she is in August at the Hollywood Bowl. I have no idea how I'm going to go, where I'm going to go, who I'm going to go, and nothing. I just bought 2 tickets.
Is that like when you say Hollywood Bowl, is that?
Hollywood Bowl is like an outside venue.
In Hollywood?
In Hollywood, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I've never been there before. I've heard really amazing things, but they always have really great artists that play there. August 9th.
August 9th.
Yeah. So
I'll check my calendar.
She'll check her calendar. We'll see if she'll go. Someone will go. Whoever wants to go, really. I mean, Is
it on a Friday or Saturday
It's
night?
on a Friday.
Sorry, everybody. I'm sitting here tentatively making plans. But yeah, so Friday, August 9th.
Yeah, we'll find Teddy Swims like in Florida or somewhere like that, when he comes back from, because he'll be in Europe. But anyway, so
those
music.
are things that bring you joy.
They
that's
do.
why I was sitting here talking, because those are really, and I think too, some of the things, because I know last time it just happens to be that we saw India Arie, Julee, she kind of made me go, because I wasn't,
birthday.
For my birthday 5 years ago, 5 years ago. And we saw her in New Orleans, and it was amazing. But just the memory making, and to your point, the destination, music, it fills your soul. Definitely something I know that's on my journey of happiness.
I know my bucket was so full when we were there, know. And here's the cool thing about it. Between Eileen and you, I do not have to worry about creating reels or saving all the memories and putting them to music and everything, because you guys do it all.
We got it covered.
And then I can just save it, and then I don't have to make it. It's kind of nice, So yeah, enjoyment. I think enjoyment's a big part of, having a lifestyle where you have joy, You know what I liked is this Arthur Brooks that you were talking about at the beginning, is the way that he compared these 3 that you were talking about: enjoyment, satisfaction, and purpose, and using the analogy of food. Yeah. Nutrients of food, for an example. What's missing in our health is in regard to our bodies. What nutrients does it need to be healthy and to feel good? Those are the same. You can liken that with the enjoyment, satisfaction, and purpose for our emotional well-being, right, and our happiness levels. What is it of enjoyment that it might be missing, or the satisfaction? Well, and I think personality-wise, a lot of people will put other people's enjoyment ahead of their own, or other people's things. That we do it all the time, with our kids and stuff like that. Yeah. Which also brings us joy when we see we're doing things for them, or whatever. So as a parent, I think there's lots of different avenues in which you can find satisfaction. And then when you get into that grandparent stage, for me, it hasn't happened and probably won't for a while, but you've got a bunch of them. Yeah. And it's like, what joy. I mean, I just think about that, and it's like, it's so exciting to think about these little humans that are going to be in my future someday, hopefully. It really is. I know today was, one of my granddaughters turned 4 today. Oh my gosh. And I just can't believe she's 4. Time just flies, So making sure that in those circumstances too, with loved ones or people that really are special and mean a lot, I think being mindful of how that time is being spent is super important. Yeah, as well. So I 100% agree. I think being in the moment, really, being in the moment, for sure, in the moment. Because we've talked about that many times, where I've shared that I have been just going through the motions and things, because I've been in over my head, with so many different things going on. And I can always tell when that starts happening, because I'm all over the board. Like I'm leaving things here. Where are my keys? They're in my hand. Oh, that kind of thing. Because I've got too much going on. So if you use the analogy of a cup that's full and it's runneth over, the runneth over part is where it gets kind of overwhelming, and then you start really not enjoying the things that are going on. You're checking them off. You're checking off boxes, kind of a thing to get through the day, get things done.
Yeah.
And that's not good either.
Right.
I think as I've gotten older, I seem to have kind of put a little bit of a stop to that in some ways. Not completely, but I mean, it used to be pretty normal for me to just be going a mile a minute. Now I try to just take a deep breath and just let myself be.
I'm kind of a homebody now.
Do you think the pandemic has done more of that to you?
Maybe.
I absolutely feel like it did for me.
For me, actually, no. I say maybe because the pandemic had such an impact, obviously, on everybody, but not for me. The job I worked was still considered essential. So I got up every single day and got ready for work and was able to leave, go to work, and do all the things. So it wasn't normal, but it kind of was. So no, I just feel like simpler things mean more now than they used to, because I think as we get older, learn to appreciate different things at different times. But yeah, I just find that I'm cool staying home.
I love being home.
Yeah,
I really do enjoy being home. I like having my tunes going, like cooking something. Like Sundays are the best because you're just like tootling around, getting things done at home, and it just feels good. And I think part of that goes into the next little item here, which is satisfaction. Yeah. And this isn't the song by the Stones where you can't get no satisfaction. Can't get no. Yeah, but I can. and satisfaction comes with so many different things, but it really does tie into the level of happiness someone has, because the amount of accomplishments you feel like you're making, or just little baby steps. It could be something super simple like maybe this isn't simple, it's more complicated, but let's say you have a addiction problem. And you are clean and you're sober and you're working on your clean and sober stuff every day. That's a huge accomplishment. And that would feel so good to be able to go through day by day and make that progress. I haven't been in that role before, but that's what I'm thinking about.
I felt that way when I started doing yoga.
Yeah.
I'd never done it before, and I just made the decision to do it at home. And I just started doing it every single day, and every little thing. And you can liken that to anything, I suppose, any kind of workout or anything like that. Right. Just like that saying, no pain, no gain.
Yep.
The more that you're putting into it and working at it, the more satisfaction you get when you accomplish those little milestones along the way. It's just a really good feeling.
Yeah. I know, like the gym, for example, I've had this fractured hand. And so, of course, I didn't really go to the gym because I wasn't lifted. I could have gone. I seriously could have gone and done the other stuff. But now I'm going, and I can't punch, but I can. But one of the trainers, she's hilarious. She looks at me and she goes, "Can you carry these?" She's just kind of like looking at me like, "Can you carry these?" She had that look.
Were they weights?
Little baby weights.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, yeah, I think I can do that, because you don't have to grip them. You just put it in your hand. And now I've been doing the whole workout, but instead of punching, I'm using the weights. And I'm telling you, it's harder, because it's like, 40 minutes or something. They're not very heavy weights, but boy, oh boy, your shoulders really feel it. But, I can't do push-ups and stuff like that because you have the way your hand is based. So I'm not ready to put all that weight on it yet. But anyway, it feels good. Like I'm accomplishing it. I'm still getting in a good sweat. I'm like, okay, I can have something that I want that's a treat tonight.
Yeah.
Because I went to the gym today or whatever.
Well, back to the food analogy too.
Yeah.
When you're talking about satisfaction, it makes me think about, have you ever been or had a really nice meal, like amazingly good food, and when you're hungry, you enjoy that and feel much more satisfied than when you're full. If you're not hungry, you have this really great meal, it's not going to be as satisfying in the end.
No, so true.
So same things, along with life and that enjoyment that goes along with that satisfaction. So
we're talking about other things too that feed your soul, like there's different things like out in nature. You're a big nature girl.
Big nature girl.
Yeah. And I have found that as long as there's no bugs, I can be out in nature. But like, I go down to Saltwater Park and it's a gorgeous view and you can walk the stairs and it's the sea breeze. It just feels good.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not there that long, maybe half hour, 45 minutes, but I feel like I've accomplished something, It's not going to the grocery. It's not a task. Mm-hmm. It's just something that's for you.
It's kind of crazy because I find that there are times when I have to make myself do some of those things. Do you ever feel that way?
Yeah.
Like you just mentioned the grocery store. Like we have to go to the grocery store. Otherwise we don't have food and we're not going to eat, right? We have to put gas in our car. There are those things that we have to do. So we're going to do them because they've got to be done. I don't have to go to the beach and walk the stairs and feel the breeze.
Yeah.
So,
well, and it's like, is that a priority?
Well,
that's the thing. People don't look at it as a priority.
But you have to recognize too, though. I don't know if you remember at the beginning of the year, I was in I don't know why, but I was in a funk and I could not figure out why. I just wasn't feeling up to par. I wasn't feeling really that happy, normal. I couldn't really figure it out. But those are the times when you literally have to make yourself get out and do some of those things.
I was in a funk too.
Yeah.
It's almost like when you'd have your period at the same time as the person that you're in sync with. We're just in a funk at the same time.
A funky funk.
Funky funk. But I have to force myself to do stuff.
And then when you do it, you're like, I'm so glad I did that. Yeah. It's really hard to make yourself step outside of that and do that. Even taking a walk and getting fresh air and just being outside and feeling the sun on your face, just even for 15 minutes, whatever, just little things step by step, because that compound effect will definitely kick in.
And it's all little components of kind of that peacefulness that you bring yourself.
And it's that journey.
Yeah, it's the journey.
Back to that journey.
Going back to that. Exactly. That's exactly it. I think too, sometimes, I don't know how you feel. Like there's some people, like I feel like I'm an introvert, but not really. Like I'm an extrovert, definitely an extrovert. I'm definitely, out there talking to people, stuff like that. But I've found that I need to have time on my own to kind of re-energize myself. Yep. I've never been like that before. It's always been like, I just keep going and keep going. And now I think maybe I needed to be, and I just didn't. Now I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm just going to take a little time for myself.
Circumstances in life have a lot to do with that. Yeah. I'm thinking and reflecting. Same thing. There's all kinds of things you can fill your life with to keep you,
avoiding
that
things.
Activity versus outcome.
Yeah.
To avoid, if you're in a bad relationship, if you've got shit going on with your kids, whatever it is, you can keep yourself real busy. So just like at work, you can keep yourself busy.
I've been very guilty of that before, where I just throw myself into my work, because I have a tendency to be kind of a workaholic anyway, but I just throw myself into it because it's easier to do that sometimes. Yeah. And it's like with my work, there's no real ceiling. You can be as successful probably as you want to be, or you can not do anything. It's kind of all on you. Yeah. Nobody's doing it for you. You don't get a paycheck unless you work. So you have to be kind of more driven that way, I think, anyway, to do this type of work. But everybody, regardless of the type of profession you have, has days when they're just like, I don't really feel like doing that. But going back to the interaction, I think human interaction or interaction with people that have different views on life or their world or whatever the case may be. Not controversial, meaning like we're butting heads, but just it's nice to see and think and hear about what other people do, what other people think, how they're living their lives. Just it's not all about me,
well,
you know?
You can glean from that.
Sure.
And get ideas on and new things that you might want to try. You know what I can't fucking stand though? People who are negative all the time.
Yeah.
They can suck the ever-living life out of you.
That?
I can't.
No, I know.
It's really hard to be around somebody like that.
Yeah. Do you think people that are life suckers, like we just talked about, do they know that they are?
Sometimes I think they know, but I think most of the time they don't even realize it.
Well, I found instead of trying to, I'll make an effort to try to say, well, if you look at it from this perspective, or, well, there's a possibility this could be another way to look at it. You know, I'll try that.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't resonate, I'm just like, okay.
But see, back to the Pollyannas that you were talking about, you're probably the Pollyanna to those type of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not like sickeningly positive.
No.
You're just, so there's all different kinds of levels. It's interesting as we're talking about this stuff, because I think there's a lot of different levels of happiness and choices and different things that go along with this.
Well, I mean, my goal would be for people to walk away from listening to this, and it's not going to be this really long podcast, but listening to this and really asking the questions to themselves. Yeah. What am I doing for myself to maintain my joy and my happiness? Do I have to rely on other people to create my joy for me? If you do, that's a problem.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of midlife things happen, or empty nest, the empty nest syndrome. We've never really done an episode on that.
We have it on our list. I'm looking over there.
But that's a big one for people our age when their kids are gone. And when you realize that everything you've been doing is for others, and you got to figure out now what are you going to do for yourself that brings you joy. That seems like a big word. It doesn't have to be this big, joyful, soul-filling thing. It can be.
I think going into the next one, which is satisfaction.
Yeah,
it's like there's things that we do in our lives that bring us the contentment, I would say, or the satisfaction of what you're doing. But then, going back to the whole getting to that age where I'm like, what is the purpose of our life? These are all very existential questions. It's like, I'm not expecting, and it's very rhetorical. I'm not expecting you to answer me right at the moment. I'm sure you will, but it's like, like I was telling you in a couple of podcasts, I don't remember, a few podcasts ago, it's like, I came to this realization that I've lived 59 Christmases, and then I'm not going to have that many left. Now, I'm not trying to be negative about it. I'm just being a realist.
Yeah.
It's like, I may have, well, who knows? We don't know what tomorrow's not promised, right? But let's just say hypothetically, maybe I have 25 more or something. I mean, it's just when you think about it that way, it's like, damn, I better get my shit together and figure out what I want to do, because I want all of those to have significance and meaning, not necessarily holidays, but just like time, like my kid is moving to another state.
Right.
This is the first time this is happening. And he is going to have a very happy life. I know he is. And he's going to have some amazing children with this amazing woman. I know it, but I'm not going to be around those kids every day.
You don't know that.
Well, I don't live there.
That's what I said. You don't know that.
I mean, who knows? Maybe a
lot can change.
But I'm just thinking. So I'm thinking to myself, and of course I'm thinking about this way in advance. It's like, I have to think about how am I going to have a relationship with these children that don't exist yet, to where they remember me as being a part of their life. When they're little, they're not going to necessarily remember, but it's the feeling that you have. I mean, my kids have a really wonderful feeling and really great memories about their grandparents, because there was effort that was placed.
Right.
And my parents, or my mom, and, I know Brian's parents, they got satisfaction out of spending time with their grandkids and learning about what they're doing and all kinds of stuff like that. And I just think that's cool that they're invested in something other than themselves, because it's really easy for us to go, hey, peace out.
Yeah.
You guys can live your lives. You've got your kids, you're doing your thing. Now I'm going to do mine, which I totally am going to do.
Right. You can do both.
Yeah, you can do both. Exactly.
For sure.
Well, it was funny because I can't think it was Zoe and Andrew had said, well, you're going to be our daycare, right? I almost started laughing. I'm like, you want me to watch your children full time? Really?
Isn't that what your mom did for you?
She did when, well.
See, they just remember. See, so they just want that to
she
continue.
Did, but she was home, and it was because Zachary died.
Right.
So she was like, "There's no way in hell
anybody else is going to watch those kids."
And I went back to work, so it was like someone's going to watch him that knows him. But to your point, it's like, I'm not planning on watching my grandkids full time.
Yeah.
I want to enjoy my grandkids. I want to have time with them. I want to take them places and do stuff. But I want our relationship to be special. I don't want it to be something where they going, oh God, I got to go to grandma's again. I don't want that.
No, it won't be like that.
So what do you think that satisfaction, what creates satisfaction for people, when we're talking about the happiness quotient?
Creates satisfaction for people? Well, it's just the accomplishment, just like we've been talking about. And, doing things. And it's just like raking leaves. It's not a fun task, but when you see the before and the after, it's like this accomplishment. And just, I think that is very satisfying.
When we are talking about people in our lives who are trying to develop their level of satisfaction in things, meaning people that our children mostly, but if we give them things, if we're handing them things, do you think that they appreciate them as much?
Well, I know we've talked a lot about these different kinds of things now, and that level of expectation that can be there with this newer generation. I would imagine it's a little bit more. That's a really good question, Julie, actually.
I mean, I've had a tendency to do that. That's what I'm saying. But I think it's because the way that it was handled for me was very different. It was very conditional. I mean, it was kind of like, we will do this, but only if you do this, or we'll help you, but I never heard the end of it, kind of a thing.
Right.
Not really my mom, but it was more my dad. But so I don't want to be that person for my kids. I want them to know that they could always come to me, my friends, whoever I'm able to help when I'm able to help them. I want them to feel like they can do that. But when I was going through and kind of looking at this research and stuff, I know that the things that I have had to work my ass off for, whatever those things may have been through the course of my life, are always the things that I remember more significantly, because there was there was a sacrifice maybe that was made to get me to where I needed to go. There was a tremendous amount of time invested, in whatever we were doing. So
it's a lot more, to your point, memorable and meaningful.
Yeah. I think it has a lot more meaning. If you have like a kid pay for half his bike and do his little paper route or whatever he needs to do to come up with the money for half his bike, or like with Jared, I think it was an Xbox or something, and I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm giving that kid an Xbox, because he would totally be that kid that is like, you need to give me an Xbox, but pay for half of it. And you work and you make half of the money for it, and then then we'll talk about it.
It's my youngest, Isaac. He is just about to graduate college, and he did most of his tuition himself.
Yeah.
Hopefully that makes a difference on what he does with that degree. But I think that will be memorable for him.
So it's interesting that you should say that, because Andrew had his college paid for. I mean, he didn't until his 5th year, because he ended up changing majors, and so his 5th year he borrowed money. But all 4 years, the only thing he had to come up with was his own spending money. I mean, how many kids have that luxury, right? And I remember him saying one time, it's like, well, if this wasn't paid for, I probably wouldn't go. And I about flipped a lid, because I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You wouldn't take out a loan? You wouldn't do
whatever it takes?
Well, I mean, how privileged are you to come from a family that can help you do that?
Right.
And not all kids have that opportunity. So then after the divorce, it's like we have a different circumstance, right? Zoe's going to college, but totally different. I'm paying for some of hers. She's paying for some of it. My mom picked up some of it, that sort of thing. I think Brian paid for some of it too. And then Jared just isn't interested at this point in anything like that. So he's not getting any college paid for, but we would help him.
Sure.
But it would be, something where I wouldn't just hand him the money. Right. It'd have to be much more committed to doing that. So all of those things kind of.
But I think when it comes to kids, to your point, what we're talking about, college or otherwise, whatever it is, college, a car, for them to work for something and do it for themselves definitely gives them a sense of purpose.
Yes.
Like we were talking about.
And responsibility.
Responsibility, purpose, satisfaction.
Yeah.
They don't realize it in the moment, probably. But definitely, that's a really good thing for them to be able to do. And unfortunately, nowadays, we haven't used that term in a while, but nowadays, a lot of that doesn't happen.
I know. Jared sent me a couple pictures a few days ago, and he's working now with a construction company, and it sounds like this company's been really great for him. It's small, and they've been teaching him a lot of things about the construction world and building and all. He has kind of a mind for that. And anyway, he built this deck, and he did all his measurements and did all his stuff, and it looked really good. He sent me the pictures of it. He was so freaking proud of himself.
That's awesome.
I know. I was just like, right on. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Nobody did it for him.
Yeah.
He did it himself. He's got this sense of accomplishment, and he really enjoyed it. So
that's awesome.
I was really excited to see that.
Something else that really brings me joy? When our listeners download our episodes.
Yeah. Well, it gives me great purpose to want to record more when they do.
And when they do it, such a sense of satisfaction, being able to just have it at your fingertips and listen to it again.
And girl, it brings me great joy. It really does.
So I guess you can tell we're rounding it up here and coming to an end. But
I think just a little bit left on that purpose one. There is no wrong answer when you're trying to figure out what your purpose is. Everybody has a different role, in what they're trying to do and what they're playing. So it's all about what is fulfilling for you and what in your life, brings you that happiness. And I think that's just something that we have to constantly be reminding ourselves of. Yep. We deserve that. We deserve to be happy. We deserve to be around people that feel the same way. And trials and tribulations are not going to make us unhappy. They just might make us sad or whatever.
Make us enjoy the happy that much more.
Exactly.
When it is there.
Yeah. And you bring me great joy.
Oh, I'm
Miss
glad
Shelley Belly.
You're on this journey.
Yeah.
Journey of joy.
Journey of joy. Well, at least I'm not wearing a pearl necklace.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Back to that.
On that note.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for joining us today. We hope that you have enjoyed listening, and keep in mind we're out on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, as long as it's not regulated yet or banned. We are still on there.
Yep.
So until next time, everybody.
Have a good one, everybody. And we'll chat with you soon.
All right. Peace out.
Bye-bye.
Bye.